Hello there, this is Brian, and welcome to an episode of Product Reviews. All right, in this episode, we're looking at the Greenworks 80-volt 20-inch snow thrower. So before we get started, let's destroy that like button as it really helps out the channel and encourages me to make more videos like this. Now, I purchased my snowblower about 6 years ago now, so I feel like I'm in a pretty good position to give an honest review on this snowblower, to give you the pros and the cons. Like a lot of people, I started out looking for a snowblower and was kind of torn between going with a gas or electric or something in between. Ultimately, I came across this and I felt like I was a relatively early adopter picking up a battery operated snowblower back in 2016. But this seems much more commonplace now. So I picked mine off of Amazon and I originally paid, believe it or not, $299 for this, which looking today was a pretty good steal. It came with one 2 amp hour battery, and it's basically the same exact thing that you see listed here in Amazon. I do not believe the model has really changed since then. So first, let's take a look to see what the product listing says about this, and I'll give you my thoughts on the accuracy of this listing. Begin with here this first claim of up to 1 acre, best yard for 80 volts, up to 45 minutes of battery runtime. Not sure what 1 acre has to do with as far as snow blowing goes. I know my property is about a half an acre, and my driveway is about 150 feet long with a turnaround, and it is paved, which makes a difference, obviously. And I can almost usually get through one complete clearing of my driveway in about one battery use. Usually I come up a little bit short, which I did in this last run today, this past week. We had approximately, I'm going to say 2 to 4 inches, and as you'll see later in the video, it cleared it out pretty well. I find anything more than, I'd say 6 inches, this thing really starts to struggle. And yeah, I guess you could clear up to 10 inches of snow with this, but realistically, you're realistically looking at probably a max of 6 inches. As far as the battery runtime, 45 minutes is pretty accurate overall, so I'd have to agree with that. Now, of course, one of the advantages of the Greenworks 80-volt line is that it shares a common battery with a lot of its components, and it is the highest rated one. You'll find that their components range, they have 40 volt, 60 volt, and 80 volt versions. Usually with the 80 volt, you fall into the Pro line for them, which does a couple things. It gives you a better quality product, in my opinion. It also gives you a longer battery runtime, or battery warranty, which is really important. I have to say, every single battery I've had come with the Greenworks, I've had to have replaced under warranty. It's a relatively simple process. You call up, you tell them the battery's dead, and they ship you a brand new one without you having to ship one back to them. So it's pretty seamless there. That being said, it is an annoyance, and I feel it sort of defeats the purpose of trying to be green if you have to go through a new battery every 1 or 2 seasons. And if we take a quick look at these specs here, 45 minutes, check, that's right. 33 pounds sounds about right. 10 inches deep is really pushing it. It's probably a 20-inch path. Brushless motor, LED, all sounds good. And then you get into all these beautiful little pictures which their marketing department put together. I'm not going to tear them apart too much on their marketing because, that's what marketing does. They kind of sell you on the advantages without talking about any negatives. It is push button start, but it's actually a pull lever start, which I'll talk to about in a minute. It is a brushless motor, and you definitely can feel that instant power, and you do get constant power with it. And then there's some of the comical things. It has an LED light, which is, I've bought dollar store flashlights that have more of a luminosity than the LEDs that come on it. And the throwing chute is okay, and you'll see what I mean as we start showing videos of how it works. So my overall thoughts on its use. For a battery-powered unit, it's actually really impressive. With the exception of the battery longevity, the unit has served me almost flawlessly for close to 6 years now, and dozens of snowstorms here in Pennsylvania. These include light storms, as we see here, as well as a few blizzards with over 10 inches of snow. I like the fact that I can just plug in the battery and this is ready to go. I'm not out monkeying around in the garage trying to start a coal gas motor that's prone to maintenance, eventual leaking, and engine failure in time. It's much cheaper than most equivalent gas motors at first. It really does go through the snow. It's only a one-stage snowblower, which means the rotor picking up the snow is the only force throwing that snow, whereas a two-stage would take care of the secondary operation of pushing the snow out into the grass or whatnot. It is super light and easy to maneuver, so light that I use it not just for my driveway, but for my step-graded front walkway and back patio. I can just lift it up and take it pretty much wherever I want to go. It folds up easily and stores just as easily as well. In fact, as far as portability, there have been times where I've picked it up, thrown it in the back of my SUV, drove over to my dad's house, and went ahead and got his for him as well. And its storability, it's so great. In fact, I usually just hang it right in the wall of my garage. It's so light, and that way it's out of the way. And I wouldn't be doing this justice if I didn't mention that this comes with a lot of other tools that you can use. I have the weed whacker, which is honestly more powerful in my opinion than most gas weed whackers. It has a leaf blower that has the power of Superman as far as I can tell, blowing things around. It's pretty crazy actually. In fact, if you're going to get this, I would also recommend getting the leaf blower because not only can you use it for the leaves, but it actually comes in really handy. I used it to blow all the snow off my wife's Chevy there, as well as my Land Rover behind it. So really handy tool, especially not just in the summer, but in the winter as well. So sounds like the perfect snowblower, right? Well, obviously with anything, there are definitely drawbacks too. Batteries. Whew, batteries are expensive. They run about $200, and keep in mind you have to charge them and keep them charged. It's not like gas where you just fill it up and start it. If the battery came with a Greenworks Pro tool, it carries a 4-year warranty. Otherwise, you have a 3-year warranty. It's actually a pretty good warranty for the batteries. Definitely a lot better than my Ryobis. And returns are super easy. I just wish I didn't have to do it as often as I do. If you read any of the reviews, you're going to read somebody saying that the chute gets clogged. And that definitely is true. If it's a heavy, wet snow, you're going to be clogging that chute. If you try to go too fast, if you take it slow, it's usually pretty good. And I also like to grease up the inside of that a little bit with some vegetable oil or some pan before I start going. That's a quick little tip there for you. And honestly, anytime you get a single-stage snowblower instead of a two-stage snowblower, you're going to deal with this. That front rotor is going to get that snow up, and it's going to push it pretty far. So if you are pushing the snow away from you directly, it's going to do it really well. If you try to change direction to the left or right, the more you change it, the less action you get, because I feel like the snow is naturally moving forward. And at that point, you're using the chute itself to redirect it, which obviously friction reduces the effectiveness of it. I mentioned the light on it is kind of weak, but honestly, I really don't care about that. And if you're worried about the light in this, I feel that you're worried about more than you need to. Just go out and buy one of those lights you slap on your head and you're good to go. So the bottom line, would you recommend this? As with everything, it depends. If you have a 100-foot or less driveway and get less than 6 inches of snow on average, I would say maybe. If you already have an 80-volt Greenworks tool, I would say definitely, because in addition to this tool, you're getting another battery. And if you're planning on getting other tools, I would say yes as well. If this is the only Greenworks product you will buy, maybe not. I think you could find some better products out there. If you have a long driveway and you can only afford one snowblower, I would consider a gas power blower at this point because I don't think rechargeables are there yet. Eventually maybe, but not yet. If you're the lucky soul that can afford to get this and a gas power blower, or maybe you have a plow blade that you use for your longer driveway and want something for odd areas, I also think this is a great choice. So again, I think it's a great tool. I think it really depends on what your situation is. I personally liked it. The reviews, for the most part, seem positive on Amazon and other areas. I tend to discount the few negative reviews because I think a lot of people buy this thinking that this is going to compete head to head with a $900 gas snowblower. And there is no way this ever could. You could take a $300 gas snowblower and it's going to get blown out by something that's a $900 snowblower or more. So if you keep your expectations realistic, I think this is a great product, and I think I would definitely give it a recommend to most people. So if you did find this review helpful, I really would appreciate it if you click that like button, subscribe if you haven't already. It really does help out the channel. And I will try to post these continuously. Trying to do one on Friday, which is my normal outdoor adventures, and then something like this midweek. So until I see you again, take care, and looking forward to talking to you about our next product or outdoor adventure.